it's very easy to say now that I have 5 channels, 2 is available to someone and the remaining 3 are not. The fact that SBI, in the true spirit, is ensuring that as you expand channels, access is available across all the points to all the customers. And then going beyond to the cash, the PCs, I think the UPI cash point, where customers will now be able to, not just Aadhaar enabled, we know that sometimes people have issues with the biometric, they'll be able to use UPI now to withdraw cash. And also onboard onto UPI using their biometric. These were 2 products that from NPCI were announced yesterday. And as you are talking about scale, I'm just thinking about how relevant these are going to be. So if we move from that access and go on to the usage. So once we get the customers onboarded, you mentioned MSMEs, other women customers, other customers. How do we ensure that they are actually getting the kind of products? So payments that's the first level. When you open an account, then actually get them to do a transaction. But what are the key elements that you're looking at across all your channels, so whether it's YONO and of course leading with YONO, but all the other channels and services also, to get people to use their accounts more? Because as that velocity of usage increases, that's when the impact, the financial inclusion impact starts kicking in. So I'd love to hear your views on that.
So the first very basic measurement of usage could be that, we've opened almost 150 million Jan Dhan accounts. And as you're all familiar, Jan Dhan accounts start with a zero balance. In the last decadal journey, what we have seen is that today, 99.5% of these accounts are funded. Which means that even if it's a small amount, the average balance is about 4,000 rupees, but the fact that they do not remain as zero balance account, people started a little bit of savings here and there. That's a primary usage of an account that they're not, but that is not alone, whether they are frequently transacting. In this PMJDY account, we have about 3.5 million transactions every day. We still want more and more accounts to be operated. And another important element is that about 56% of these accounts are being utilized by women. And the second important element is that most of these PMJDY basic accounts will also get transformed into a full-scale operational accounts. That means somebody who's starting with a zero balance, they started taking up some productive activity, they started a small business. In the initial transactions happen in the savings bank account. And then probably when they grow, they open a current account. Which means that this transition, the usage of these accounts for their daily lives is increasing. Number 2, I think the other elements of financial inclusion in terms of the credit, in terms of micro-insurance, is also something what we have to look at whenever we talk about the usage. We should not stop only with whether they're actually using the bank accounts. Today, the large number of these Jan Dhan account holders, financial inclusion customers, have moved to utilizing the micro-insurance. And this micro-insurance is being delivered at scale. And millions of Indians are now covered under whether it could be life insurance, accidental insurance, or even pension schemes. In a small measure, but very powerful measure, this usage of financial products like insurance is also increasing. The third element of inclusion, that the credit, I think, is yet to pick up in terms of delivering through the BC channel. We need to enhance that. But the usage of digital platforms with the help of fintechs and the startups, what we are trying to do, particularly in the small and medium enterprises, we are using the extensive data which is available to us as well as in the system. Whether it could be UPI data, whether it could be GST data, whether it is income tax data, our own account statement data. Today, I'm very proud to say that an SME customer up to 5 crore rupees can get the loan approval within 25 to 26 minutes. I think this is made possible essentially because of the humongous digital landscape what we have created in India.
I think that calls for a round of applause. Imagine an MSME getting a loan in 25 to 26 minutes. So you touched upon a very important element, which is, as we get into usage, credit. And, NPCI has launched RuPay, and when we launched credit card on UPI, your subsidiary SBI Cards is a very large and significant issuer of the RuPay cards. We also launched the credit line on UPI. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on how we can do more with the credit card and the credit line on UPI across different types of lending products. And our vision is, at one point, to increase access, again usage, and discoverability of credit, so that small street vendor today who proudly displays a QR code and a sound box, how does that vendor get access? And I think SBI is the best position to be able to provide access to credit. If we can, at some point, maybe we might not be able to give him a credit card, but if he can avail a credit line and use that analytics, the data, because now we have all the information on their transactions, can we ensure that we create, and I'm thinking slightly futuristic here, just like every QR code is now a payment QR code, can we make credit discoverability at some point as easy as you scan your QR, you will get to know if SBI is offering you a credit line, or you apply for it and SBI can tell you what it takes for you in your financial behavior to do, so that you can check again in 3 months' time and then you can get credit. So how do we take this whole payment revolution to the credit revolution in terms of ease and discoverability, of course keeping the risk and other parameters?
Credit on UPI is a very, very powerful concept. I think we moved from payments, UPI being only the payment platform, to making the credit available on the UPI is a very, very revolutionary development. And as you mentioned, our subsidiary SBI Card has done a phenomenal job in terms of almost 34% RuPay cards are active on this, and 18% spends are coming from SBI Card. But the credit products from SBI on the UPI are currently limited to certain categories of products. There are two ways of looking credit on UPI. One is the intuitive credit availability to the user of UPI at the point of sale. This is basically we are using extensive data which is available to us, and also correlating with UPI data, and trying to give a pre-approved line of credit, essentially, yes, a small value credit, and maybe we can enhance as we go forward. But we are also thinking beyond the consumers who are using the point of sale, whether we can make this credit available to the farmers. The KCC is one of the important element, whether we can make this line of credit available to the farmers on the UPI, because the extensive UPI usage there in the rural and semi-urban areas also. How do we make this credit available to them? But another point what you mentioned also is important to realize, how do we make the credit available to the vendors?
Yes.
If vendors are having lot of their users being used UPI, today we have credit card receivables being discounted for a vendor, right? So whether we can do the same thing for UPI receivables also is something we are evaluating. We have predictive AI models which give a pre-approved loan to a large base of customers. But this small value credit has to be looked from a fact that delivering this credit is easier on the UPI. We need to strengthen our collection mechanism.
Yes.
Because this credit always has two components, that how do you give the money easily, more importantly, how do you collect it back. So we need to get the collection piece right before we roll out as many products on the UPI. But it's a very powerful tool which is available, and it is also a critical element of inclusive credit availability to the people. We'll definitely work on that.
Yes, yes. No, absolutely. I think the power of expanding that will come from many of the products that you have. And it's such a great idea. I think we're talking about inclusion, and in our country, it cannot be inclusive unless we have spoken about how do we get the actual credit right down to the farmers in our country. And of course, there is no institution better placed than State Bank of India, sir, to do that. I would like to mention here that many of the NBFCs actually have been able to strengthen their collections because they are now getting people to collect on UPI. In fact, you see one of the categories, we put it up on our website, and it says debt collection on UPI. And that actually is not debt collection. This is people paying back their EMI or credit card bills. So we can make the technology on credit work both ways. We can also extend credit and use that same technology for institutions to do far more efficient collections. So I'm sure with somewhere combined with the reach, with the AI models and the analytics and the will to be able to ensure, I think we will find the right answer. So before I move to the quality element where we'll touch upon the technology and trust, in the opening remarks you had spoken about the demographic diversity. One thing that always comes up when we talk about demographic diversity of India is the young population of India. So would want to understand, when you said you are opening 65,000 accounts every day, what's in terms of, yes, you would have people from every state, every income strata, every geography, but some insights, because that's also important as we build the pillar in terms of usage, in terms of customer literacy. What's the demographic profile in terms of age for the SBI?
So we are truly banker to every Indian.
Yes.
So we also take pride in saying that we are truly banker to every Indian household. In some way or the other, every Indian household is touched by SBI. In terms of demographics, I did mention in one of the podcasts what Dilip has done recently, 1/3 of our customer base is less than 35 years. So, and most of this, I keep asking my teams whether they're opening an account because their father has an account or mother has an account, or it is a bank which is in the neighborhood, or it is truly they feel that we're comfortable dealing with the SBI because of the trust it provides. More importantly, I think most of them have to come to SBI because we provide the best services. And this is our endeavor. Our endeavor is to cater to every segment, and more importantly, we do believe that youth is extremely important in terms of creating the value which the economy is looking for. Providing the services just by merely opening an account. I think the constant engagement, customer life cycle management is something what we are looking at. You would be surprised that you go to any institution in India, more than 70% of the students who avail bank educational loan would have availed from SBI. I think that is the power of SBI's reach. And here how someone who has supported their education, and how do we take that journey forward when they grow in their careers, when they grow in their journeys. At every stage, SBI would like to be there. I think this is the proposition which we are providing to the youth, that it would be a life cycle management. It is not just about account management.
Yeah. No, that is fantastic. I did listen to that podcast, and I actually encourage everyone to listen to that podcast. I think there's so many brilliant nuggets there that we can take in many aspects. So moving forward from access and usage to quality, which is the third and I think the most, I would say, toughest and most challenging parameters in this financial inclusion index. Two parts to my question there. One is about the technology. You briefly mentioned how you're using the mobile or the technology powering YONO, not just on the mobile interface, but also to improve all the processes and the back-end services that you can offer across any channel. So a little bit more on how that technology is getting stronger, better, and serving us. And then in that same context, that technology in this sphere at the GFF, everything is about the partnerships and the ecosystem. So how do we create more reach or amplify the reach with the power of that technology to get better quality services to the customers?
I always give example of the UPI and the way NPCI managed their technology. The test of any digital platform is its high availability. If you do not ensure high availability, then the customer confidence in the channel will actually go down. And the classic example is the way, billions of transactions every day, and the high availability of UPI is a very commendable one. I want you to actually a round of applause for a brilliant technology what we have created in India. So similarly, I think the endeavor for large banks like ours would be to ensure high availability of every channel. It is fairly easy to ensure channel availability when it is a physical channel, where it is a BC point or ATM or branch channel. Generally, you have 100% availability. You don't see during the banking hours, branches are not closed. They're available, right? There are somebody. In fact, a lot of times I go to a branch and ask the customers, you have ATM, you have many things. Why are you coming to the branch? They say that we are sure that the service will be delivered. And which means that we have to ensure that the reliability of the channel, high availability of the channel. And so we are investing heavily into technology, which ensures that the channels are always available and available at scale. So when you are creating channels you're not creating channels for 10 million, 15 million. We are creating channels for example, 2.0. Right on the first launch itself, we would like to have ability to onboard 200 million customers, which means that you have to create that technology capability to create this high availability of this channel. This is a big fundamental. So which means that people are looking for intuitive journeys, people are looking for high availability, people are looking for interesting, a lot of people tell me about the gamification, and they also are looking for security. See, the digital channel offered by SBI cannot be a good to have channel, but it has to be a trusted, customer centric, secured channel. This is our effort, and I think in this area we are working with almost a dozen fintechs in developing the 2.0. Lot of intuitive journeys where fintechs are providing. We also believe that if something is available and something which can be scaled up, the solution which is provided by the fintech, instead of building our own and buying as an option, which we still have that. I think we pursued that objective in many of our technology endeavors, and we will continue to do that.
And that would, I think, be great learning even for the technology firms, because then the power of their innovation or new technology bringing together and them being able to serve at scale, there would be lessons that would be there for both parties to take it further. So, we touched upon all the three elements of access, usage, and quality. I think having you on the stage, we have to ask you one final question about, as we are here at GFF, which is, it's a celebration of all the achievements, but I think it's also important for this event to be, the path breaking for what is next. Where do we go from here, and what are some of the enablers that are needed? So broadly, from a policy perspective, technology will keep evolving, and AI is at the forefront. Everyone here, I think yesterday there was a lot of conversation. Today there will be, and we will be embracing as a country, as an industry, we'll be embracing the technology. But there's also the policy element. Is there anything from a policy or a regulatory landscape that you believe we need to work on, or something that is on your wish list, or even from your own experience, sir, that can actually accelerate our journey towards this financial inclusion?
One positive thing which the country has witnessed over the years is that very positive policy approach. I think particularly in the payment systems, there's openness in the policymakers to experiment and listen to us and what needs to be done. I think nothing really comes to my mind in terms of policy changes, but I would definitely feel that, where large number of customers are joining the mainstream banking, we need to really look, as all of us, policymakers, fintech developers, technology developers, that how do we simplify the whole process of KYC? I think one dreaded subject, if both on the customer side and on the bank side, or the financial institution side, and in general, is about KYC. Probably we are working on that, the simplification of KYC processes. Even if it means that we need to engage with the regulators and the government, we are taking that initiative from SBI side to simplify the whole process of KYC and re-KYC.
That is, we can start a whole new panel on the topic of KYC itself, but the timer here is telling us that we need to close. It's been an absolute honor, sir, to share the stage with you and hear your thoughts. I think in closing, I would only like to say that, at SBI scale, and combined with the agility and the technological innovations and the embracing of the technology that you're doing, and your openness to partnerships, you're not just build it or buy it, you're willing to open partnerships. I think there is this topic that we have of financial inclusion. Hopefully, at some point, that becomes a topic of the past, and it is something that we've already achieved, and then we can only build on top of it to be able to get how that is impacting actual economic prosperity. So we move beyond inclusion. At some point in one of the GFFs, we'll have a topic where we are going to measure how what we did 5 years ago is now a key indicator of how the prosperity index moving away from the financial inclusion index. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Sharing.
Thank you for this opportunity.